Yours right here.
Jeez.
You forgot it. Mm-hmm. Testing. Can you hear us? Everyone's like, no, you're not fucking live, idiot.
All right, guys, welcome to my first podcast of whining about crime. So, first off, we're going to open the bottle of wine. Today we have the Bay Bridge Vineyard Chardonnay, $2.99 at Fry's or Kroger, wherever you live by.
For all you non-wine drinkers, the cheaper the wine, doesn't matter. They all taste the same.
They really do. Unless you have $1 million, then I'm sure $1 million wine tastes a lot better than our broke bottle.
We're not broke, we're rich in love. I'm serious.
Perfect. Cheers.
Cheers. Wine Glass is sponsored by Page Spring Cellars from Sedona, Arizona.
Just in case Mamba comes. All right, well, my name's Kenna. This is my husband, Tyler. Sound equipment sponsored by my husband, Tyler. And also this cool tripod. So today we are going to go over the Dirty John case, aka John Meehan. I know I said I wanted to mostly do murders and abductions, but I kind of thought since this one's on Netflix and everyone's binge watching Netflix anyways, and
Tiger King. Since everyone's kind of just binge watching, I thought this would be a good one to go over. I have some facts in here that were actually in the series and just basically the breakdown of how it went, just in case you don't have I think it took us like 9 hours to finish the whole thing. It was a long time, but 9 episodes, 1 hour an episode. 9 hours.
So we're gonna drink wine and talk about the John Meehan case. Are you so excited?
Dirty John.
All right. So apparently I read that if I'm going to do a crime podcast, I have to read this little thing at the beginning, because if I don't, I could get in trouble. So we'll read that. This is my personal breakdown of the case Dirty John, aka John Meehan. Although I have done the research, some of the facts may not be entirely true. I will provide my true feelings and Tyler's true feelings and comment as I feel necessary on the facts. Please keep in mind this is how I feel on the case, and this does not reflect on the opinions of anybody involved. So
It's 2020.
Don't come for us, basically.
People are very sensitive still.
All right, so we're going to do a lot of kind of fill in the blank things, but on my tablet, I basically have the timeline that I've done the research on. So I'm going to be looking down on it just to make sure I have everything in order that we want to go over. So I'm going to see how long this lasts. We'll do our cuts and everything, and I'll see what I can do as far as video editing. But right now, we'll just see how long. All right, so the first event.
Currently looking for sponsors.
So what I'm gonna do, and if anyone has any comments or anything on if they don't like it this way, but what I feel like I wanna do is go over the history of kind of the like the suspect or the person involved in the case, and basically get a breakdown of their life before the crime. Because sometimes I feel like that has a lot to do with why they did it and what drove them to be psycho. All right, but first off, we're gonna go over Cindy Newell, which is Deb's sister. So Deborah Newell is gonna be I don't wanna call her a victim. She was a victim, but she was basically the victim in this case. So her sister actually was murdered by her husband of 13 years. So this didn't happen during the time of the case. This actually happened about 20 years before. So what happened was they were actually in the process of separating. I believe it was mostly the decision of Cindy. They got married very young, and they were just in the decision. They made the decision to separate, but Billy, her husband, did not take it very well. So while the couple was in the process, Billy actually came in and executed Cindy Newell. So Deb's sister was executed by her husband Billy about 20 years before the Dirty John case actually took place. So this took place in Laguna Niguel, California. She was shot in the back of the head, and Billy then proceeded to shoot himself in the stomach, and then he called emergency services. So, as you can tell, this is a very tragic incident that happened very early on by one of the men in Deb's life. So, but what happened next is kind of interesting to me. It kind of blows my mind. Let me know what you think. But during the trial, Cindy and Deb's mother, she actually came in defense of Billy. And she said that he is a very good guy and he was not in the right mind when this happened. So not only did he execute, by execute, I literally mean stand in the kitchen and shoot her own daughter in the back of the head. She came to defense of him, saying that he was not in the right mind and he was actually a really good guy. This put her in a very negative light, and you actually see that throughout the series. If you do watch it, you see that the mother was kind of painted in kind of like I don't want to say like a side taker, but she had the sides of both, like this man, Billy, and she had the side of John. Like she thought these were very good men. And so that kind of put her in a negative light, especially after Billy executed her own daughter. So because of, I don't want to say just because of this testimony, but it had a lot to do with this. Billy was actually acquitted of murder, but he was deadlocked into a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter. So when you have manslaughter versus like first degree murder, obviously that will only put your sentencing at about 5 years. But he was actually let go, serving only 3 years in 1986. So this is actually one of the main reasons that Deb refused to have a gun in the house. Even though a lot of her family, especially after John was involved, Deb, I don't know the exact number of divorces, but she had a lot of previous husbands, and her family really wanted her to have a gun in the house. But because of this situation, she really didn't want a gun in the house. So, yeah. But, so we're going to talk about this. I mean, I don't agree with that voluntary manslaughter, because he got the gun from a friend, I think days before the murder, which to me that shows like planning. Like he knew what he was going to do with it. He was either going to commit suicide or he was going to go murder his wife. So to me that shows planning. So I don't necessarily agree with being deadlocked into like a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter. I don't even believe it was manslaughter.
Did her mom pay him to kill her?
Probably. What if it was?
Well, she didn't kill.
Maybe she was psycho.
He's a good guy. He shot my daughter in the back of the head.
Billy was a good guy. But imagine that. You go into a kitchen, shoot someone in the back of the head, and you're out of prison in 3 years. I'd be under 30 still. You'd be screwed.
If you guys looking to kill someone, we know a guy.
All right.
Out of prison in 3 years.
Out of prison in 3 years.
Pays great.
Pays great. All right. So we're going to move on to kind of John Meehan's life. So there's a lot here when it comes to this scoundrel. So November of 1990. So I believe this case took place primarily in 2014 was kind of the meat of it. But so this was years before that, obviously. So John's just been living his little scoundrel life. All right, so in November of 1990, John Meehan actually married his first wife, Tanya Sells, and she's in the documentary. It's not a documentary.
No, it's a straight out series. Yeah.
Yeah. So his first wife, Tanya, she was showed in the series. This was his first wife. So they were married in Ohio at St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Dayton. So Tanya was only 25 when they were married, and John was 31. However, John told Tanya he was only 26 years old. So she thought she was marrying a 26-year-old, and she was at 25. She's like, oh, great. He's a year older than me, but actually he was 6 years older than her at the age of 31. She didn't know this. None of John's family attended the wedding. Go figure. Which to me is sketch, but we'll talk about that in a second. So he had explained that his entire family was addicts, and if they came to the wedding, they would just ruin the wedding. So he didn't want them there because he said they would just ruin the wedding. So they didn't come. Tanya didn't talk to them. I don't think, had any clue he was even getting married. So together, John and Tanya had their 2 daughters, and Tanya helped John go to nursing school. So this is another thing. So not only did he get to marry a woman that was 6 years younger than him, claiming he was only 1 year, he got 2 daughters out of it, and put through nursing school because she was a very successful woman. I believe she was a nurse at the time, so she had money. And that's what you see like throughout this case, is just John and money. It's like he cannot get enough money. And even when he's put in situations where it's like he's married to a nurse that puts him through school, so they're both becoming nurses, that's never enough for him. And that's the mind of a psychopath, I guess. Like, you have 2 beautiful daughters, you have a wife that is a nurse, and helps you go to nursing school, so you're both nurses. Like, to me, that would be, I don't know what he was necessarily doing, but
money isn't everything. Sometimes people just want to kill people.
I guess maybe he just wanted to be a serial killer, but he wasn't a serial killer that we know of. He might be.
If you're gonna do something, be passionate about it. It's something we learned today. Right, so if he was passionate about it,
maybe he's just really passionate about money. We'll go over why I think he was kind of money crazy, but anyway, so that was the beginning of that marriage. 2 beautiful daughters. They're I believe they're in their 20s right now, but yeah. All right, so July through September of 2000. So this was 10 years after they got married. So after 10 years of marriage, John told Tanya he wanted a divorce. So in the Netflix series, it like breaks it down to this huge dramatic event where he meets a nurse and they bang and
intercourse.
They have intercourse, and then yeah. But so that was the event. I don't know if that's true. I kind of tried to dig some stuff up on it. I couldn't figure it out, but I just thought I'd let you know that was what happened. Is she found out that they were basically like she was being cheated on, and they got a divorce. But in most of the news articles, it said that John told Tanya he wanted a divorce. So after he came to her and said, "Hey, I want a divorce," Tanya actually turned around and tracked down John's mother. She was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna," she tracked her down. Her name's Dolores. And this is when all the lies that John started to tell her, well, some of them, we don't know all of them, but some of the lies started to unfold. So John always basically told Tanya to never contact my family, which to me would be really sketchy. If I got married or was thinking about getting married and he was like, "Hey," like if you said, "Hey, don't contact my family," I would be like, "What's your problem?" Like, I'm going to now. But anyways, so she did. She contacted Dolores, and Dolores revealed that John had been lying to her about his birthday and his full name. So I put in here that this was likely because John knew how smart Tanya was, because I believe Tanya was a very smart woman. But so I think he didn't give her his full name, because he actually had a drug charge against him in California. Tanya knew nothing about that. So to me, I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why, was because if she looked up his name, I think a lot of stuff would have come up. And so that's why I think John kind of just gave her a fake name. So after receiving this tip from Dolores and others, there were a lot of other tips from the nurses at the hospital, from other people that John was just being sketchy at work. John had a drug history. She decided that she was going to start digging. So Tanya decided to search the house after receiving a tip, and she found surgical anesthetic drugs that had no reason to be in the possession, of outside of the hospital. So he had, I don't know exactly, I believe he had morphine, he had some other drugs that, there's no reason they should be outside of the hospital, especially by John.
Zero.
So Tanya informed the police as soon as she could, because she's like, "I'm a nurse. I want nothing to do with this, basically. This isn't our family home." She called the police. They came over, and this opened the investigation up in September of 2000. So yeah, thoughts, concerns?
Nothing really. I mean, hey.
John's not looking like a good guy to me.
Basically, if you're a single woman out there and a man comes into your life and he seems too good to be true, he's probably too good to be true and he's probably lying to you.
You're too good to be true. Are you lying to me?
Uh-oh. I've gained like 50 pounds. I am not too good to be true. Sponsored by Oregano's.
True. All right, well, so far we have the lying about him being 6 years older than what he actually is. His entire name, like, he lied about his name. Who does that? First off, how can you even get married about, like, lying about your name?
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, so now John and Tanya have 2 daughters. John wants a divorce. She contacts Dolores. Dolores says she's lying. There's drugs in the house. Like, shit's hitting the fan. Like, shit has hit the fan. There's shit on the fan right now.
Our fan's on, so I hope that's false.
All right, so we'll pass on that part. All right, so June 2002. So this is 2 years later. Almost exactly. All right, so John decided he was going to plead guilty to felony drug theft. No shit, John. All right, instead of surrendering after pleading guilty, he decided to flee the state and check into a hotel in Michigan, probably with his real name, because, you know, he's smart, but not that smart. This is where police found him unconscious, surrounded by drug vials. This is how Goffard, which I think he was a police investigator. So this is what one of the police investigators, this is what he said happened. So this is a quote from him, so I'm going to be looking down. The ambulance was rushing him to the hospital when he unbuckled his restraints, grabbed the drug kit, and scrambled atop a cargo elevator and into the shaft and kicked a cop in the face, then finally handcuffed him when he tumbled to the ground, covered in grease, and knocked himself unconscious. Go, John! You knocked yourself unconscious and kicked a cop in the face. I believe that's like at least another year for kicking a cop in the face, and you knocked yourself out, so that's funny. All right. After this whole debacle, John was then sentenced to 6 years in prison for resisting arrest and his possession of drugs. However, again, he only served 17 months. So after that whole thing, I believe he should have served a little bit more than 17 months. But, I mean, you see Billy serving 3 years for shooting someone in the back of the head, so...
Things were different back then.
This was 2002. Huh. This was a Wild West.
People weren't sensitive.
Things were different back then, like it was the 1800s.
There was 2 genders in 2002.
Yeah, there was 2 genders in 2002. Now there's like...
Trump actually brought back the 2 genders because he said all men and female. Well, you got a stimulus check this year, so... Welcome to the 2 gender show. AKA the life you live. Once again, Page Spring Clear. Sedona.
Cheers.
Arizona.
All right. So, still not conclusion. Where we are now.
No conclusion.
So now we have John and Tanya, who's been married. Tanya reports him for drug felony. John decides he's going to not only just plead guilty, but then just run away. Like, he's not going to get caught. Really? You don't think you're going to get caught? But whatever. Runs away, checks into a hotel. He's now in prison, which is good, right? No. He's in prison for 17 months. Like, people do marijuana fucking things longer than that shit.
They do marijuana.
People get busted for marijuana. They're in jail for longer than 17 months. You kick a cop in the face. You're in possession of... You steal drugs from a hospital, 17 months? Really, guys? Let's get our shit together. All right, so that was 2002. We're moving on. February of 2014. So now, obviously, John's been released, and I don't really know what he was doing in between then. I'm sure I could have looked it up, but we've got a lot of information here anyways. So February 2014. So... This is kind of where you kind of start seeing the crimes against women. I'm sure there was more before that, before Tanya, before all this. There was. But this is... You okay?
Yeah, just fixing the wrinkles. Let's get a cookie.
You're gonna get a cookie. All right, so this is February of 2014. So John actually pled guilty to stalking a woman in Laguna Beach. He met her in the hospital. You ready for this? While she was recovering from brain surgery, he introduced himself as her anesthesiologist. John, you're not an anesthesiologist. We'll continue though. They ended up dating for a period of time. She then became uncomfortable with his suggestions that she transfer money into her bank account. She wanted him to transfer money into his bank account. He wanted her to transfer money to his bank account. There we go. To hide it from her estranged husband. So obviously stuff between him and her weren't going well. And John's like, oh, why don't you just transfer all your money to my personal bank account? Why
Smart
not?
man.
Just transfer it to my bank account.
She took on all my debt. That's actually a fact. I'm 800 plus credit score.
I'm in a lot of debt. All right, so she decided, because she was very uncomfortable, obviously, because John was a very pushy guy. So it wasn't like, hey, why don't you just transfer money into my bank account? Nah, I don't really want to. He was probably like, okay, well, I'm gonna kill you if you don't. Not saying she said that, but you know.
He probably came off that way.
He's crazy. So anyways, when she ended their relationship, he started sending her threatening messages. Not only did he send threatening messages to her, he started sending threatening messages to her and her family. And on top of that, he started sending the photos of them being intimate, her in lingerie. He started sending those photos to her family. So don't send John money. He'll send you your naked pictures all over.
Send him
all
money
of your
or
family,
nudes.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
They'll both be leaked.
Don't send him nudes because he'll send them to your family.
Yeah,
I guess if you don't send him money. Bad idea.
Yours is secure. Thanks for the money.
So that was February. Now we're into October. Ready?
Ready.
John was released from prison again. All right, October 8th, 2014. He served time, ready for this? For violating a restraining order. Go John. You get what he just pled guilty to, stalking a woman. Now he's fucking violating restraining orders. Maybe I might have to bleep that out. Probably.
Maybe. Beep. Beep. Just like pinch me when you're about to swear and I'll beep. And then we can save on editing.
So, John violating restraining orders. Cool. Now, this was 2 days before he met Deb. So he gets released from prison, and I'm sure he is Tindering it up. He's probably swiping on all those 50 plus women. So this is a 50 plus dating site. So maybe not Tinder, Match, I don't know, 50 plus dating site. Farmers only.
50s only.
Farmers only, 50s only. So he met Deb Newell on a 50 plus dating site. Now, guys, Deborah was successful. She was lots of money.
She had guap.
She was a very, very, very successful interior designer that owned her own company, and she would travel. So she still is a very successful woman.
Drove an extremely nice car.
Yeah, I think she drove
via Netflix.
via Netflix. Great car on Netflix. So, John and Deb lived in Irvine, California, and on their first date, he told her he served as, again, guys, an anesthesiologist. John never went to medical school. He went to nursing school, and I believe he lost his nursing license. I didn't really look into his actual job. Can you hold this?
Yeah, but you forgot one. Just snap it. I got this. I'll take this one over.
Can I have that?
Anesthesiologist in Iraq.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even bring that part up yet.
I mean, it was the next word in the...
So he told her he had served as an anesthesiologist in Iraq and spent a year with Doctors Without Borders. So he's telling her that not only was he in the military, he was a medical anesthesiologist in the military. He was in Iraq, and then he served for Doctors Without Borders. He didn't do any of this. He wasn't even a doctor. You think a guy who's money hungry, trying to scam people out of money, decided to donate his time to Doctors Without Borders and go help kids and no, John didn't do any of this. But anyways, that's what he told Deb. Also on their first date, it's been noted several places, he dresses like a complete scrub. Like he just scrubbed out. Deb, of course, like first date, woman in her 50s. She's looking really great.
He's looking like Bill Gates.
He's looking at Bill Gates after he's been married and has kids and doesn't even care what he looks like anymore. That's what he's looking like. Except probably instead of...
poor Bill Gates.
Probably Sam's he's shopping at like Walmart.
No. Yeah, whatever is worse than Walmart, he's there.
Oh yeah, probably. Okay, but anyways,
Styling.
So this is what Deb told Fox 5 after the whole thing happened. This was a quote by her. Because everyone's like, Deb, why would you fall for this guy? He's showing up to the first date looking like a scrub. You're successful. Like, what is going on? She said, I liked that he was a doctor, that he had been successful helping people. And then when he said he had been to Iraq and Doctors Without Borders, that impressed me also. So she's like, I mean, if I'm sitting across from a guy on a date and I'm in my 50s, like, I just want to settle down with someone. Like, I'm like, you're a doctor, like, you volunteered your time, like, you're just an awesome guy. So I'd probably be thinking the same thing. Regardless of what he showed up with at that point, I would be like, oh, wow, you're a good guy. But anyways, so that's what she said. Deb claimed that she was swept off her feet because he always knew what to say or do. And this is a very, 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 like, common thing with him, is John always knew what to say and do. And to me, that's kind of scary, because if someone knows exactly what to say and exactly what to do, that means that they're too good at it. Like, there's people who are just too good at pleasing people that they're only doing it because, like, trying to get something. What?
Nothing. Sounded
it's like their job. It's like their job, though. You get so good at doing the same thing over and over and over and over again that, like, you just sweep people off your feet. It's a thing. It really is. Like, you get so good at scamming people that people will trust you because you're so good at it, because you keep doing it over and over and over and over again. So anyways, she said she was basically so swept off her feet because he always knew what to say and do. This is the reason why she looked over so many of his quirks, because he had a lot of weird, like, quirks about him. So one of them, so a lot of, like, you medical professionals out there who wear scrubs on a daily basis, this would be weird to you. John would wear his medical scrubs, like, everywhere, to the point where that people would comment on the bottoms of them being so frayed and dirty that they would just look disgusting and old. And so he even showed up to a couple formal events in them, and that was portrayed in the Netflix series, how he showed up to one of, I think, Deb's work events dressed in his scrubs because he said he just came from work.
Which he just came from another girl's house.
That's what's said in the Netflix movie, but I don't know how true that is.
I believe what I see.
Okay, well, maybe he did. Probably, to be honest. Probably scamming another girl out of money, but...
Probs.
Anyways, so he would always wear his scrubs everywhere. And, like, just watching, like, Tyler's mom and watching, like, my friends who have been in the medical field, like, nurses and stuff want to rip their scrubs off when they get home and just get into something else because they know what has been on those scrubs all day. Like, there's been sickness. So to walk around in your scrubs all day, like, that, to me, that means, one, you either really like your scrubs, which are comfortable, so I kind of get, but to me, that means you're not really a doctor, because if you were, like, you would understand that that's just not okay. Like, that's gross to be walking around in scrubs that have had this flu and had blood, and, like, it's just gross. But anyways, he would wear them all the time. So even Deb's daughters were very suspicious of John right off the bat. So Deb's oldest daughter was named Jacqueline. She was obviously the most vocal about it. She is the oldest daughter, and in the Netflix series, she was kind of portrayed as the most confident, like the most kind of out there girl. She had a very bold, like, demeanor. So she was kind of the most like, hey mom, like, he's an idiot, you're not, like, stop, let's not do this. But anyways, so she was very suspicious, and she eventually kind of just said, Mom, I don't want to live in the same house if he's going to be here. Like, I don't want to be around him. And to me, at that point, like, you're 50 years old, your family should come first. And you have 2 daughters that are basically saying, Mom, I don't like this guy, I don't trust him. That should be your first thing. But Deb did what she did and decided that she was just going to move out. We'll get into that. But anyways, Tara was also uncomfortable with him, but she was less vocal. So Tara's kind of portrayed as like the shy sister of the 2. So Jacqueline was very like outgoing, and Tara was very quiet. So yeah, but they both did not like John. Go figure, I probably wouldn't either. I'd probably punch him in the face on the first day. So anyways, now we're in November of 2014. So this was October. So this is 2 months. This is a month. This is 1 month after they met. So quickly, yeah, no shit, 1 month after they met, John and Deb moved into a house together. But get this, the lease was only in Deb's name because John said he did not want the lease under his name.
He didn't want his credit showing up. I'll let mine show up any day.
This is great.
Mine's phenomenal. Making $22,000 a year with an 800 credit. Hey, life's great. Drink wine. Wine about crimes.
He's had too much wine. Cut off.
No, I need a cookie. Be right back. Keep going.
You get the other bottle of wine.
Be right back. Yep.
Go.
No, you go.
So,
Oh.
we did a mountain bike trail today.
My butt hurts.
Tyler's butt hurts, so that's good. We might have to open another bottle of wine here pretty soon. Tyler's eating cookies already. All right, so anyways. Okay. This is my favorite part. So October. October is when they met, right? Okay. On the dating site. November is when they move into their own house. This is a month. This is faster than me and Tyler moved. And me and Tyler moved fast. So this is a month. This is a month after they met. Not even a month after, oh, hey, we've known each other. This is a month after they met. They're moving in together. All right. December. 2 months. 2 months. Not December 2015, December 2014. So 2 months later, John and Deb get married.
It's not the only thing we did fast, by the way.
I was faster. You were fast.
That's for another segment.
Oh, I have a hair in my eye. All right. So they got married in the courthouse in Las Vegas. Woo! So Deb was there on a business trip, and John was basically like, hey, I'm sure there was alcohol involved. There had to have been, like, at least 5 bottles of wine. And Deb was like, hey, or not Deb. John was like, hey, Deb, let's go get married in the courthouse. And Deb was like, fine. So they got married in the courthouse, and it was in Las Vegas. So, I mean, not saying all Las Vegas weddings are a mistake, because I wanted to get married in Vegas. He did not want to get married in Vegas. But anyways, not saying all those are a mistake, but, I mean,
I'd like to point out something, Miss McKenna. That's his second wedding that we know of, where his family was still not there.
True. I had that in here somewhere. And no guests were invited. So, but also Deborah's family was not.
Cleaning up.
Whoa. So also Deb's family was not invited. So nobody knows about this wedding except for Deb and John. I feel like my hat's crooked.
Even her daughters.
Her daughters didn't know about the wedding at first. So nobody knows about this wedding except for Deb and John and whatever poor sucker that married him and her. So yeah, that's all that knows about the wedding.
Poor sucker, though.
Yeah, and so Deb knows nothing about this freaking family again. So where is John's family? That's my question. But anyway, she's not asking that, so I guess why should I? Because they're in Vegas getting married and wasted at the same time. All right, so that was December. March of 2015. So, Deborah's nephew, I think it's Shad, S-H-A-D. Shad? S-H-A-D? We'll just call him Deborah's nephew.
Call him Shad. I'd like to point out that I turned 16 that year. Wait, 20.
I was going to say, I was like, are you lying to me? You stop drinking wine.
The sad thing is, I was going over it in my head. I was like, how old am I? 91 to 15. Yeah, 16 years old. I think I'm still wrong on the age. 24. Yeah.
Okay. I'm dating an 18-year-old. You're all proud of yourself. I can't stop. There's gonna be a lot of cutting. More wine. Okay. I'm gonna get more wine. Oh my god.
Intermission. For the record, I'm 29. It is the year 2020. Hit me.
Okay.
All right. Kicked it.
First bottle wine down, as you can obviously tell. Okay, so. Okay, so now we're going to get into March of 2015, the year Tyler turned 16. Okay.
I was so pumped.
So, Deb's nephew, Shad, I think we're going to call him Shad. I don't know how to say it, Shade, I don't know. He called and raised concerns about John. I believe he actually did like a background check on him. I think
Shad.
Shad, I like that.
Because like it's like Chad, but there's an S.
Shad. Okay, well, Shad. He decided, I really think he ran like a background check. He had to have done something.
Yeah, he did something.
Okay, so anyways, he decided he was going to raise concerns about John. What is your problem? So, this is when it was first brought to Deborah that John had served jail time. Like, he was not like this perfect little guy that she thought he was. This perfect little anesthesiologist that worked all the time and yada, 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 whatever. It wasn't him. So this is the first time that was kind of brought to light. Okay, so basically Shad had revealed that he served time in jail and he had lied about being an anesthesiologist. Deb didn't necessarily act concerned about this to Shad or her family. She was just kind of brushed it off to them. However, this is when she started digging into John and discovering his long history of seducing, tricking, and harassing women. So this is the first time it was kind of brought to her attention that he is not this perfect guy. All right, so this is from one of the police investigators. So she discovered that from 2005 to 2014, from about the time he got out of prison in Michigan for drug theft to the time he had met Deborah in California, he had seduced, swindled, and terrorized multiple women, many of whom he met on dating sites while posing as a doctor. Court records showed by the time they were married in December 2014, 3 separate women around Southern California had standing restraining orders against him. So that's like 3 women. I think it's pretty hard to get a restraining order. I know I've tried to get a restraining order, but it's pretty hard. Like, you have to prove.
It's Mamba.
Mamba. Everyone meet Mamba. All right, so he had 3. Like, you have to prove kind of your life's not in danger, but you have to prove that, like, you are going to be in danger. So he has 3 restraining orders against him. Like, to me, guys, that's like a huge red flag. Okay, so he's been to prison twice, I think, at this point. Mm-hmm. So he's been in prison. Like, people know he's a bad guy. He has 3 restraining orders. Like, when is it time to, like, put an ankle bracelet on him and say, yo, John, stay at home unless you have to work? Like, to me, it's like, when is that time? Like, are we just going to let these people keep roaming the streets when people are getting restraining orders against them left and right and, like, letting them live as normal civilians? I guess so. So he had posed as a doctor, which I feel like you should still get fined for, or something should happen for posing as something you're not, just like catfish. Yeah. I still feel like people should get in trouble for catfishing people. But anyways.
We finished the whole.
All of them.
Neve.
Go Neve.
Sponsor. Looking for it.
Mm-hmm. Even if you want to sponsor Mamba, that's fine too.
Even if you want to tag us along. We'll come on the next season 9. We know that because we finished season 8 and there wasn't a season 9 yet.
No season 9. That's cool. You know, COVID has us binge watching everything.
You.
Me.
I still work. I'm essential.
Go you. Yeah. So anyways, after locating this information, Deb took advantage of John's back surgery, which is, everywhere I read it, it said back surgery. In Netflix, it kind of showed that it was from drug stuff. So, like, he had obviously the long, like, drug abuse thing going on, and it was kind of in Netflix from drugs, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was from the drug abuse that he had to have a surgery, but in most of the articles it said back surgery. So I don't know if it was like back surgery as in, like, I don't know. But anyways, she took advantage of that time, as would I. And she decided to move all of her stuff out of the Balboa Island house, which is the house that her and John shared together. So the one that he was not on the lease for because he doesn't want to be. Yeah. So she decided to pack up her stuff and leave. At this point,
she packed up her stuff because she found stuff.
What did she find?
Oh.
Well, yeah, she found stuff out about John. She was just like, oh,
that he was
crap.
hiding from her.
Yeah.
He had in a drawer. She found it.
Well, that wasn't the Netflix series, though. There's a lot of stuff added.
Well, I believe what I see.
True. She could have left for several reasons. I would have left him.
I mean, yeah.
As soon as I see 3 women have restraining.
Mind you, go back. This dude doesn't have a car.
Mm-mm.
And he's like demanding that he drives her car almost every day. Like, he'll drop her off at work, then he just takes her car.
This is true. So they're basically sharing a house that Deb's paying for herself. They're driving there. I'm going to say they are because they are both driving.
They, comma, or apostrophe, R-E. Okay. For those, there's 3 types of theirs. People still don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, they are driving
the
same car that is in Deb's name, obviously, because it's her car, it's her money, her house. So
H-E-R.
Everything is hers. Yes. So, yeah.
Sorry, it wasn't in your notes. I just took it away.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Hey.
But anyway, she moved out. She was like, F this guy. I need to get out of here. Finally, like, at this point I was like, go Deb, like, you are a rock star. You left this guy. Like, you found stuff out. You decided to leave him. I have this long hair. Anyways. So I was like, you decided to leave him. You are great. Good job. However, June 2015. So that was March of 2015. John is constantly, obviously, after he gets out of back surgery and says, oh, hey, my money's gone, basically. Not Deb. My money's gone. So after months of phone calls begging her to take John back and claiming that he needed her. So he's like, hey, I need you. Obviously, probably like, I need you. But anyways, that happened. The couple got back together. John claimed that the only reason he lied because he was afraid of losing her. No, you lied because you needed money. You needed this relationship. And no respecting woman was going to be like, hey, John, you have 3 restraining orders. You have 2 daughters that you don't even freaking see. Let me marry you. That's not going to happen. So no, he lied to her because he needed money. In my opinion. Again, don't come for me. That's what I'm saying. So.
IMO.
What?
IMO.
What's that mean?
In my opinion. That's what that means on Facebook.
IMO.
I keep seeing IMOs and I'm like, who the hell is IMO? In my opinion.
Well, also John had claimed, just like he claimed to Tanya, that Deb was the love of his life and she made him a better person. No, she made you a richer person. Better person? No.
Better.
You still suck, John.
Compromiso. I need to get the cork.
You need more wine?
It's right next to your butt cheeks. Right there.
You need wine?
No, I'm going to just crack it open.
Uh-oh. Ow.
You okay?
No.
What the heck was that?
My hair on your watch.
Your perfect hair on my watch is what you meant to say.
Whoa.
Because you are perfect. Everything about you is perfect.
Do we have a John part 2?
I don't have money, so that's a start. But I don't have scrubs either, so.
True.
And I don't pretend to be nothing that I'm not. Although.
You did tell me you're a professional baseball player.
Nah, I said X. I was a has-been / never was. But hey.
Do you know how to open a bottle of wine?
Yeah, so basically, so this is a $2.99 bottle, so you're gonna have to go halfway. Most bottles you can go 3 quarts, but quick like that. Pop top. Say when.
Ah,
Olive Garden people, say when. You want some cheese? Say when. Got all the dad jokes. When. What the stupid. When. Just say stop.
when do I cut them off? Now?
Shout out Costa Vida never putting on cheese on burritos. Costa Vida. Don't go there.
Guys, there's no cheese in my burrito. I even asked for extra cheese, and I even complained and said, then the last time you gave me no cheese, so please put cheese. Guess what, guys?
America's Mexican restaurant is Chipotle. Will always be Chipotle's. Cafe Rio, leave. Costa Vida, you shouldn't even have been invented.
No.
You're just a knockoff. Cafe Rio, America's Mexican food. Chipotle.
Yes. All right, anyways.
Speaking of, I'm going to put in an order soon.
No, we're eating.
Nah, you're right. We're eating chips
All right.
for dinner.
All right, guys.
Look
So
at sponsors.
you're gonna get cut off soon. Don't rub my shirt and my microphone. Okay. Anyways,
Sponsored by me.
so John's over here telling Deb that she is the love of his life. What is your deal? Whining about crime might have not been a good idea.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right, so we're going past the part where Deb and John. What is your problem? I'm trying to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
Stop patting my shoulder.
Oh.
There's a microphone.
My microphone was there.
Anyways, so John and Deb, we're getting past the point where John's calling her, and I'm sure the conversations are, I need you, you're the love of my life, you made me a better person, come back. So we're getting past that part, right? Because Deb fell for it, because most women do, because men lie. And anyways, so this was March 2016. So June 2015 is when he's whining, trying to get her back. So then this is March 2016. So this is a year and 3 months into their marriage. Granted, this is not Deb's first marriage. This is like her fourth or fifth. Like she's been married a lot. So I'm sure this time, to me, I feel like Deb is like, I need to make this work because she has kids and her kids are probably looking at her like, yo, mom, like you need to get with someone you're going to stay with. Because that's what I'd be doing if my parents divorced and kept marrying other people. I'd be like, find someone you'll stick with because this bouncing back and forth is getting really old. So anyways, I'm sure this time she wanted it to be real. But this is a year and 3 months into the marriage. Deborah is still very suspicious of John, as she should be because he's a scoundrel. Psychopath. John has basically made Deb an outcast of her own family, and he's caused, I would say, more than a lot of tension between the family. So her like nephew doesn't want her coming over to the house. Her daughters are like, mom, like we can't see you right now, all because of John. Like they are not comfortable around John, and that's that. Like they're just not comfortable around him. So as long as she's with him, like they don't want her around, which is sad, but I would be the same way. Her daughters, honestly, to me, I feel like her daughters were in the right in this situation. Like if I'm not comfortable around something, I do not want them around my house. I do not want them around my kids. So one of the police detectives stated that he did not want her seeing her kids, particularly Jacqueline, who had been so vocal in her contempt for him. One day he caught Deborah sneaking away to see her. So Deb was sneaking to see Jacqueline, and he said he would throw Jacqueline in the ocean if it happened again. Deb reached her breaking point in March and filed the marriage to be annulled in April. So John is now living in Nevada, started sending threatening messages, demanding money, and promising to ruin her. She had requested a restraining order, however, the Orange County judge denied the request. Okay, this guy has 3 restraining orders from other women, and you're gonna freaking deny the request against his own wife. Like, okay, so this man has threatened that he was going to throw her daughter into an ocean if she saw her, and now you're denying a request for a restraining order when he already has 3 against him. Like, are you an idiot? Anyways, yes, judge, I'm saying you're an idiot. I don't know what judge you were, but you are an idiot. So,
IMO.
In my opinion, yeah. So anyways, he's basically going back to his old self, sending those demanding messages to her family. In the Netflix series, it showed that he was like posting Yelp reviews or whatever kind of reviews on Jacqueline's like work and calling, and basically like got her fired. So John's like he needs money. Like I feel like that's all he wants. I don't think he even wants a wife. Maybe he loved Deb, maybe he didn't. We don't know. We don't know the mind of John, but like he needs money. He wants money, and he's gonna do anything he can to get it. So yeah. Need water.
Smart guy.
What are your thoughts?
I think your microphone just fell.
It sure did. Can you hold us?
Yeah, I got you.
Cool.
And we're back.
Okay. Anyways, so this is all going on. I'm sure at this point I would be anyways. Deb's daughters are like, Mom, I told you so. Like, this guy's a psychopath. But, so the court's denying this request to get a restraining order, which still blows my mind. I understand you have to follow protocol, but this guy has 3 restraining orders against him. Like, there's something wrong with this guy. You've let him out of prison 2 times. He has 3 restraining orders, and you're going to say, no, you can't get a restraining order? No. Okay. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So he had basically promised to ruin her. Eventually, Deb just started ignoring his calls and messages, which I'm sure pisses, because psychopaths or people, men, guys, girls, who get their messages ignored, calls ignored after they've been broken up with, they have no power. So I'm sure this pissed him off a lot more. So basically, John's like, well, now I'm not being heard. Deb's ignoring me, ignoring my calls, ignoring my messages. I'm sure at one point she got another phone. I don't know if that's true, but I'm sure at one point she did. So he's being ignored. So this is what John does. You ready? So this is March of 2016. So it's June of 2016. So months later. Jaguar, that's what it was. She's a Jaguar. Mm-hmm. So Deb's Jaguar disappeared from the parking lot in front of her office. So her Jaguar is gone in front of her office. So there was footage showing John had stolen it, and the car was found about a block away, soaked in gasoline with mild fire damage. So John, thinking he's smart, decided to soak the car in gasoline and try to light it on fire. So the car was still soaked in gasoline, but it was mild fire damages because John's not as smart as he seems. So, yeah. And he denied this. He said, that wasn't me, basically. Like, Deb lets me take the Jag whenever I want to. It's our car. We share it. But, like, does he not realize that she filed for the marriage to be annulled and doesn't want anything to do with her? I think he realizes that, but whatever. So this happened.
Him.
What?
With him. I knew you were saying. Mm-hmm. But that happened, and he said that the car got stolen from him.
Oh, yeah.
And
he
so
was like,
that it wasn't him that lit it on fire.
It's like, it wasn't me. It was someone else. So not only did he steal the car, but he didn't steal it, per John. He didn't steal it because they share the car.
That's right.
They share it. No, John, you don't share anything. Your marriage is being annulled. Okay, so that was June 11th of 2016. Now we're getting to August 20th. So this is when more shit hits the fan, because shit has already been on the fan, you know? Shit's on our fan. I can see it. I can smell it. Did you fart?
No. The smell I get, but it's not on our fan.
All right, so Jacqueline, this is my favorite part because this is when Tara, to me, turns out to be the biggest badass I've ever seen in my life. So, sorry. So Jacqueline calls
cool,
Tara.
There's a virus going around the world.
So again, Jacqueline is the oldest daughter. Calls Tara, the younger daughter, to warn her that John was in town, and Jacqueline had seen him waiting outside of Jacqueline's apartment. So Jacqueline called Tara and said, hey, John was sitting outside of my apartment, so like, be cautious. I think Tara kind of saw the message but didn't really think about it, I guess. I think she probably thought about it but was probably like, what's John gonna do? Because at this point, like, nothing physical had happened. Nothing physical. That he's just been very threatening. So he's just a very, at this point, like, behind the screen kind of bully. So anyway, so Tara saw it, and Tara ended up, I think she was going to a music festival that day. So she got out of work, she was driving home, returned from her home, and parked outside in the lot of her Newport Beach apartment building. So she's parked in her parking lot, and as she was getting out of the car, here comes John, you know.
It was a parking lot, but it was basically more like the roof of a parking garage.
Yeah, I think it was like an apartment parking lot in California. So those are kind of like the parking garages, basically. So she was parked in it. I think she was in Netflix. It portrayed them on the top, like, thing of it. I don't know if that was like for theatrics or that's actually where it took place. So
better camera angle, more lighting.
Probably more lighting. So anyways, Tara,
low budget film,
getting out of her car, expecting to like go home and grab her stuff, go to her music festival. I think it was Coachella, maybe?
I mean, probs.
It's some kind of music festival.
Coachella. Oh, by the way, it's going on right now. Coachella, but the virus killed it. So, yeah. But it would have been going on right now. Same with sports.
We also would have been hungover from the
technician. She would have been a responsible driver.
Not true. We would have both taken an Uber and been hungover AF. All right, so anyways, John approached her from behind because, you know, John's a P word.
What guys? Oh, right.
Yeah. So John came from behind, approached Tara, and guess what? He had a knife. John had a knife. So John goes up to Tara with a knife, probably because he's scared AF of Jacqueline. I would be. in the movie she was portrayed as like a very strong, like
white woman. Oh, I'm just kidding. She was white though.
Very strong woman. Like she was very, like you could tell she had a lot of like emotion against John. But Tara was kind of like standoffish, but not really. But okay, so he's going and taking Tara again because he's probably scared of Jacqueline. So he's going up to Tara from behind with a knife. You ready for this? Okay, so John's 6'2". So John's a big guy. He's not, it said in the article, even though he had lost weight. So I'm thinking like 190, 200 pound, 6'2" man. Maybe less than that. I don't know. Anyways, a big man, bigger man. 6'2" is pretty tall though. That's a big guy. That's like not a small guy. And Tara, I mean, she was portrayed as a pretty small person. So he had the weight advantage. We'll just say that. He had the weight advantage against Tara. So thankful for her rain boots that had a lot of tread on them is what the article said. And I actually looked up the brand of rain boots. They're like thick. So what I learned is if you're gonna, I guess, walk around New York City or anywhere you need to defend yourself, put on some pretty heavy treaded rain boots. But anyways, Tara was able to defend herself thanks to these heavy rain boots. They had a very thick thread, and during the fight, she kicked the knife out of John's hand and managed to grab it herself and stab John not one time. She stabbed John 13 times. Like, go Tara, you are literally my role model right now. So she takes a knife after kicking out of his hand and stabs John 13 times. So her last stab ended up right through his eye. So you have a small woman and you have her on adrenaline, probably like freaking crazy, stabbing him 13 times. That knife is going through a lot more than just his eye at that point. So this is a quote from Tara. I didn't want him to get back up. I don't want him to try to hurt me again. If he gets back up, he's going to kill me. So that's how she felt in the situation. So she felt like if she did not stop stabbing him, he is going to get up and kill her, which at that point I would have felt the same way. I would have kept stabbing him until he was not breathing, basically. So you had every opportunity to get away from him. So her last stab ended up straight through his eye. And Tara calls Deb and says, I am really, really sorry. I think I killed your husband. So after one of her neighbors or one of her apartment complex people came, kind of wrapped Tara up, comforted her, that was her call to Deb. She basically said, I am really, really sorry. I think I killed your husband. So what I put is, unfortunately, he was not dead. So he's still alive. I think he died for a little bit, but paramedics administered CPR and he regained a pulse. Again, that unfortunately he was not dead. My opinion, I think this fool should have been dead. I think someone should have killed him in prison. I don't wish death upon a lot of people, but you're screwing people over left and right. You deserve to be dead at that point, in my opinion. Yes. So this was August 20th when this whole thing took place. So Tara had stabbed him through the eye. So this is August 24th. So this is 4 days later, 2016. John Meehan finally, in my opinion, died in the hospital at the age of 57. This was after the fight with Tara, and he was declared brain dead. John's sister, Karen, made the decision to take him off life support. So per the Netflix series and per a lot of the articles I read, this was not a hard decision. It's not like Karen sat there and cried over John. Like, it was like, okay, he's brain dead. Take him off life support. We're not dealing with this anymore. And his body was cremated. No memorial was even held. So we talked about Dolores. That was the only time I really saw her mentioned, but his own mom, his own sister, his own family did not even hold a memorial service. I believe it was actually Deb that picked up the ashes, and it was her that kind of took them and spread them, and there was no memorial, nothing took place. So you have a guy who has family alive. It's not like he has no family. His dad was deceased at this point. But like, you have family that's not alive or still alive, and nobody wants a memorial for you. Like, to me, that shows what kind of person you are. Because, like, if if I pass away, if any normal person passes away, I feel like there's several people in your life that would want to at least like create a memorial for you. If you don't even have family, like your friends, your co-workers, like someone would have a memorial, but none. There's none for John. They just picked up his ashes and spread them. Thoughts? I mean, I want to say that's sad, but it's really not. When you screw over everyone in your life and you push them out so far, there's only so far you can push people before they just stop caring. So,
well, what hasn't been mentioned in this hour and 5-minute episode of Whining About Crime is via the Netflix series, which is, to me, true. His dad raised him to be a money-hungry animal. And a lot of the things he learned was from his father. His father once was at a restaurant with him and made him eat glass.
We don't know if this is true.
We don't know if it's true, but it's definitely 100% true, but we don't know.
We know for 100% fact, and that's
true.
For research, that his father was a con artist. That was true. His father was, like, the way he primarily made money was from conning people. So I do have facts that, if you guys watch the Netflix series, which I highly recommend, especially in these times, like, maybe you have spare time, maybe you don't, but if you do have spare time, like, you need to watch Dirty John, because it really, like, it's not a documentary, it's actually a show, so you're able to sit down and watch this actually unfold, but knowing it's a true story, like the timeline and story behind it is true, it's actually really cool to sit there and watch it. But you see things in there, like the way his father treated him, that I mean, if anyone's raised a specific way, I don't want to blame parents for the way people turn out, but at the end of the day, like, the way that you raise your kids is really going to impact them. And John was raised by a con artist. So what is he going to do throughout his life, you think, to earn money? Like, some kids will be like, oh, well, I don't want to do this. But if you're raised that way and continuously shown this, like, path of life and shown how much money you can make by conning people, why wouldn't you con people the rest of your life? That's just what I'm saying. So
well, I think you did.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure.
It's how he was raised. It's what he knew and what he brought forth to his life.
Yeah. All right. So I have these facts about John. There's a bunch of them online, but I picked out some of the ones that I thought were the most kind of strong. So these are not in the Netflix documentary. I thought they were just kind of any more wine.
Oh, whining about crime.
More wine, because whining about crime is 50%. So if my glass isn't full, technically, are we even doing our job?
We don't get paid for this.
We don't.
Yet. Looking for sponsors. Looking for sponsors. Blippi makes $20 million a year. We could at least make $100 an episode. Jeez. We do fine. People laugh. We drink wine for $2.99. Even once we start making big bucks, it'll still be $2.99 because, like I said, every single wine tastes the same. So,
yeah, my plan for this is to open a new bottle of wine every week. So we're gonna test wines, cheap wines. We're not gonna go over $10. That's the whole point of this whole thing, is to point out that wine doesn't have to be expensive to be good. Again, $2.99 Chardonnay. I drink this shit like it's water. It's great.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go about facts about John that were not included in the Netflix series. All right, so it portrayed John as kind of like a drug addict, but it was more like, I would say, surgical drugs, so like morphine and like the injectable drugs that you can get from being a nurse, so you have access to. He actually had a secret heroin addiction, so a lot of people didn't know that. Deb didn't even know that. But yeah, John was actually addicted to heroin, and he had been dealing with this for years. So that's first. Again, he had more of a family than the Netflix series portrayed. I think the Netflix series really only showed his sister as like giving him a home and stuff. But so Meehan, John's brother died of a drug overdose. So John's older brother, newsflash, I guess, John had 2 sisters and 1 older brother. His older brother was named Daniel, and John had actually been sending him drugs. So John continuously sent Daniel drugs, and Daniel died of a drug overdose in Santa Cruz County in September of 2000. So John had been sending him drugs, and Daniel actually died of a drug overdose. So, not saying it was his fault, but in my opinion, it was his fault. All right, so you don't know this one. John's family had ties to the Italian-American mob. So, not only was John, I have a lot in here, Meehan, but Meehan's John. So not only was John learning to be a con artist from his father, he also, it was believed that his uncle was a hitman and had ties to the Italian-American mobster Albert Anastasia. And if you guys didn't know this, I know about it just because I've read a lot about American Italian mobsters. He was one of the biggest crime lords of the 20th century and ran the deadly organization, which if you guys don't know about this organization, it's kind of interesting to research, but it was Murder Inc. It sounds weird, but it's actually really cool. If you want to research it, it was one of the biggest kind of like crime circles, so it's really cool. But anyways, so John had ties to Albert Anastasia, and yeah, he was the biggest crime lord of the 20th century, one of the biggest crime lords. Unfortunately, we live in a time where there are a lot of crime lords, but yeah. What do you think about that? You didn't know that?
I think the family dinners were definitely great. Pastas, pizzas.
You say what? Family dinner. 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020. Even more pastas out here.
More pasta.
More mixed pasta.
True.
Pizza dough.
True.
I'm getting hungry.
All right, so this is kind of implied, but it was one of the facts. But Meehan, so John like begged Deb to marry him. So it wasn't like, hey Deb, let's get married. Deb was like, okay. It was a constant thing since they met. So John was like, hey Deb, let's get married. Hey Deb, let's get married. Why don't we get married? Why don't we get married? Why don't we get married? I believe from like 2 weeks after they started dating, John was like, hey, let's get married. So a lot of people believe that Deb was kind of on the same page with that. But I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were in Vegas. Like, they were drinking, you're in Vegas. I'm not going to speculate, but I believe you're partying when you're in Vegas. I mean,
never been.
Yeah, he's never been. We're taking him soon, though. But
someone puts us in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Sponsorships welcomed. teammelb20@gmail.com if you want to reach out to us. KennaWilden@gmail.com if you want to reach out to us.
Whoa, that's my real email. All right, so anyways, John had to beg Deb to marry him. It wasn't like a quick thing. I think in Vegas was kind of the prime opportunity because, I don't know, whoever's been to Vegas knows that there's like Chapel, Bar, CVS, Chapel, Walgreens, CVS, Chapel, Fat Tuesdays.
You can make
Here's another
rap
place
out of
to
it.
get married.
You could make a rap out of it.
So there's like places to get married up the yin yang. Like you can
Yin yang
walk
with the
out.
CVS, with the
I remember
Walgreens, Chipotle.
Chipotle. There is Chipotle. I remember like walking out of my hotel because I needed Gatorade and like walking not even like a half a mile and walking past like 3 people getting married. One had an Elvis in a fucking limo. So I'm sorry.
Beep. You're supposed to pinch.
Freaking limo. And so like there are places to get married up the yin yang. So I'm sure like that was a prime opportunity for him. So anyways, that was another fact. All right, here's another fact. I think this one was in the Netflix documentary, so I don't necessarily believe that this is a fact that it was outside of it, but so John stole directly from Deb's wallet, and this was portrayed when he's like, hey, look, Deb, I made $100,000. No, I don't think it was 100. It was a good amount of money. He's like, hey, I only get paid in cash, And then Deb turns around and goes, yo, cash is missing from my wallet. But John's giving her cash like, hey, I made this money. Let's put it in the bank. And then Deb's like, why is I don't know, how much was it? It was a good amount. 80,000?
80,000.
He's like, here's the $80,000 I made. And Deb's like, why is $80,000 missing? And then, so eventually she would like find money randomly missing from her wallet. And she'd go to her daughters and be like, hey, did you guys end up borrowing money from me out of my wallet? And they'd both say no.
Yeah, Mom, borrowed 80 grand.
Right? Hey, yeah, I stole all your hundreds out of your wallet.
Got
My
a
mom
bunch of pizza.
Lori would take that well. But anyways, he would do that. And yeah, both the daughters would be like, hey, no, we didn't take money out of your wallet. So she would just have money missing out of her wallet for the years they were dating, the year and a half, whatever they were dating. Married. All right, so John actually had put a hit on a detective. I couldn't find a lot of stuff about this, but it was Julia Bowman. So she had actually put a hit on her. John put a hit on Bowman for about $10,000. So John was going to pay someone $10,000 to eliminate this woman. And it didn't really give much more information besides the fact that she was a detective, and she had been basically the detective that put him behind bars in 2013. So he knew who she was, and he was about to pay $10,000 to kill her. And I believe the police found that out and like stopped it, obviously. But yeah, so he had put a hit on her. So there's an interesting fact. I don't know if that's very interesting, but he was trying to get people killed. Granted, I don't know if he killed someone. I feel like if you're this psycho, you had to have killed someone or had someone killed for you. Like, I feel like at this point, in my opinion, you had to have had, like, someone killed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would think so.
Let's check everyone tied to John, because someone has to be dead. So anyways, okay, so this one's a long one. This one's the last one I have, guys. So John nearly swindled $37 million from a Brazilian multi-millionaire. So I kind of copy and pasted this directly from the source I found it from because it was a lot of information. So I'm just going to read it to you. So prior to meeting Newell, so Deb, John had dated author, this is a weird name, Maralidi? We'll call her Marley.
We'll call her Mrs. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson's great. Anderson. We'll call her Anderson. And almost convinced her to transfer millions of dollars from her bank account in Brazil to his personal account. Anderson had just undergone brain surgery. Again, another brain surgery person. Go John. In the U.S. and told Meehan, so John, she was unable to move her money from Brazilian bank account. So John suggested she use his. So, hey, why don't you just transfer $37 million to my personal bank account? Okay. Anderson actually agreed at first and initiated the transfer. However, she immediately canceled the transaction because she was feeling uncomfortable after realizing it was a mistake. So she's like, okay, well, I'm going to transfer my money. Wait, this sounds like a bad idea. I don't really know this guy. Good job, Anderson, because if you transferred it, you probably would have never seen $37 million again. But the whole Deb thing probably wouldn't have happened because he would have probably lived successfully, so.
Yeah, he probably would have stopped after that, I would assume.
$37 million?
I mean, invest. Buy a yacht. Live in the ocean.
Buy 7 yachts,
Stand
jeez.
Brazilian the rest of your life away.
Yeah.
In your scrubs and...
Your scrubs. Your frayed scrubs. Yeah, true. Okay, anyways. Okay, this is a quote. The money never came to his account. Then he started to be very mad and rude to me. Like every single woman he's met, when he is refused money, he gets rude. Duh. It's his personality. I don't know what else to say. If he does not get his money, he's mad. And that's just the kind of person he is. So Anderson explained that John began harassing her again. Everyone says he harassed her and told her that she owed him money. You owe me $37 million. How does that play over? You owe me money because you didn't transfer your own money to my account that we were going to do because you needed it here. So you owe me money.
Guy sucks.
How does that even work? You owe me money.
Well, if
Whatever.
people are stupid enough, they'll do it. If you ain't trying...
Did I mention I'm a princess from Nigeria and need $20 million to survive right now?
No, but we're looking for sponsors. We did mention that.
All right. Anyways, so let's find where we were. Anderson explained Meehan began harassing her. Authorities eventually arrested John for burglary. I can't say that word. Do you know how to say it?
Burglary?
For breaking in.
Burglary.
And extortion and stalking her. So he stalked her. Go figure, you stalk every woman you mate.
You mate? Or meet?
Meet. I said meet.
You stalk every woman you mate.
Meet.
That would
Anyways,
that would be weird.
after this incident, John met Deb 2 years later. So this is the reason he was in prison. When he got released is when he met her. So that's the case. The last one that he was in jail for when he met Deb the couple days after he got out of prison. So that's all the information I have. That was a lot of research, guys. I don't know if you know how much research a case takes, but anyways, it takes a lot of research. But it was very fun. I learned a lot about John.
I learned a lot about him that I did not see in the episodes / series. I also learned that you don't go after the weakest link because you will die.
I guess Tara blew my mind.
Adrenaline is a
holy crap,
is a scary thing.
Like, if I was him, I feel like I would have gone for Tara because Jacqueline was scary. I feel like Jacqueline's scary because she's voice ripping. She's like, "Yo, want to fight?" And then
I don't know if she said that, but
I would have said it.
I understand where you're going with it.
But then like Tara's all like,
more...
"Yo, I don't like you," and Jacqueline's like, "I don't like you," and Tara's like, "I don't like you." So I would have gone for Tara too, but Tara's
It's kind of like David
surprising.
versus Goliath. He went after David, and David won once again.
I mean, like Tara, she's awesome. But anyway, so I
want to meet her. So if you're watching this,
however, I do want to let you guys know. So after further research into it, like Tara has a lot of PTSD from this, which I would too, because I would have a hard time. I see Mamba's tail. So after that whole thing, like I'd have a hard time trusting any kind of man in my life. And she was young when this happened. It wasn't like she was older and had a boyfriend. She was a young woman when this happened, and like she has PTSD from this event, and that sucks. That really sucks that she would have to deal with that, because I could only imagine how it would feel to have to pretty much take someone's life because you're in fear of your own. And so she's had to deal with a lot of PTSD, and that's really sad. Even though she is, to me, she is a badass. Like, that was awesome what she did. She protected herself like nobody's business, and that was really cool. So
I would agree.
And also, John's two daughters that he did have at the beginning, they're grown up now, and I read a couple articles about them. They're very strong women. They are pretty much living the life of this, and I think either the youngest or oldest was having a really hard time kind of coping with having John as their father and being portrayed that way. But you guys got to understand that John was not in their life very long. I mean, they were married, 10 years? 10 years before they got divorced? So these two women have basically dealt with their life without John. They're beautiful. They're living their life. So, yeah. Pretty much everyone came out of this. Deb decided to take it to the
news because she realized how much it would impact people. She does a lot of work for kind of, I would say, the emotionally distressed relationships. What is that called?
I'm one of those dumbest persons you'll ever meet, so.
Kind of the
Not sure what it's called.
I want to say domestic violence, but I don't think it's so much domestic violence. I think it's more like emotional violence. That domestic probably too, but she does a lot of work with them because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the same situation that John kind of put her in, where they're feeling like they have to support, they have to be around, they have to surrender themselves to these men that are absolutely trash humans. So she does a lot of support for that too. So yeah, everyone kind of came out of this okay. I feel really bad for Tara because I'm sure there is probably a lot of PTSD associated with taking someone's life. But at the end of the day, Tara, you did what you did. I mean, that was awesome. You saved yourself and probably saved a lot of other women from being tortured by John. So yeah.
Go Tara.
You have anything else to say?
No, when you watch this, if you want to give us a call in and let us know how you're doing, we're here.
Comment below, let us know what you think. If you absolutely hate us, just don't follow us.
Nah, trick. If you hate us, you need to rethink your life.
Probably.
We funny.
Yeah. Tyler cried, I think, crying.
Nah, well, I laugh crying.
Laugh crying, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't cry. Psych.
So yeah.
Every man cries. If they say they don't cry, then they're not a man. No, sorry.
Thanks,
No!
guys. What?
You gotta have a good going out thing.
Oh, this is whining about crime. We drank all the wine. We talked about crime, and we are out.